Hey guys, it is April 4th, 2018, and this is Kyle, aka Vulcan Wolverine. I just wanted to do an update and I guess let y'all know how I'm doing. I'm extremely tired, like exhausted. So I don't know, I don't know how much useful information I'm going to be giving. But I did just want to do an update, kind of documenting what's going on with me. You know, I'm at the point of adrenal, just endocrine exhaustion, still getting hit pretty heavily, affected by remote neural manipulation, and especially the 24 hour a day V2K chatterbox is just overwhelmingly exhausting. But I'm still here. It seems like that's one thing that we say to each other is, you know, we're still going, we're still here, and that's something. Um, so, really not much, not much going on except just surviving, surviving and just trying to, trying to figure out something, some ideas that could move us forward. I know that the Targeted Justice group, they have somebody in their group who, is a medical specialist who's coming up with a panel of tests that are going to be good for all target individuals to get. So that's gonna be a game changer there, I think. But basically, I guess I just wanted to make a short video. That's really hard to think. I'm so exhausted. I went to my psychiatrist today, and she's really good. She's great. I talk about this stuff, but it's hard. I don't know. It's like I'll test people by saying, yeah, and I'm a pretty smart target individual, and even I have a hard time getting people to believe it's going on. And a lot of people that I talk to, like my parents, I told that to my dad today after I got home from the psychiatrist, and he said it's not that I don't believe you. He's like, I just don't know what to do. So we've got to think about that too. It's nice. It's nice to have my family, my mom, my dad, believe what I'm talking about. But then it's like, what can they do? This is such a huge system, and that's got me very depressed. Just the further you go along in this, you realize it's very organized. Has a lot of money. I mean, just the directed energy weapons on the open stock market is like billions of dollars, and mixed in with surveillance, and then the stuff that they're not showing in the black budget, it's gonna be, it's probably $1 trillion industry just for America. That's not including other countries, and then a lot of these third-party contractors are international contractors. But I guess I don't want to go too much into that and depress everybody, because we've got to keep moving on and just keep thinking of better ways to get awareness out. There was something else, and I knew this was going to happen. Like, my memory is so bad. When I was talking to my psychiatrist today, I was making a lot of good points, but then I just completely lose my thought train. My thought train going on, train of thought. There was something important that I wanted to talk about, but I cannot remember. Oh, it's so hard to think. It's so freaking hard to think. I was gonna say something that, no, I can't even remember. I can't remember. But, oh yeah, this is really important. I think that was definitely a remote neural manipulation, because it's really what I wanted to make the video about. I saw Dr. Horton's video on her father falling, and she pretty much knows that her parents are being targeted. And I wanted to say that's a big thing with me too. After my 33rd birthday, the day after My dad started getting a high-pitched tinnitus-like sound in his ears. He had headaches. And then after a week, he had an aneurysm where he almost died. And I have some older videos, where I went through that whole story. And then after that, it's like after that happened, and like I helped, like the whole family helped, but I helped to, he had to relearn how to eat and to, walk and to use the bathroom and everything like that. And I was being tortured with V2K, the high pitched sound, external directed energy weapon hits, while I was taking care of him, while I was trying to help him. So this stuff gets very, very, well, we know it gets very, very evil. It's so evil. But I wanted to say what Dr. Horton was talking about. I've experienced that, and a lot of other TIs that I've talked to have experienced, their families being targeted. After that happened to my dad, I was like, well, maybe they're remote neural manipulating my parents some, surveilling them some, but it doesn't seem like they're hurting them anymore. And just last month, my mom started having numbness on the whole left side of her body, and she actually has to go get MRIs done, I think Friday. Well, I don't want to say, my parents live by a naval base. So it makes me very worried, and I know that the thing that you've got to know about surveillance, these surveillance webs that these agencies have come up with, is that in these surveillance webs, Snowden talks about this a lot, that when they're surveilling one person, they'll surveil like 3 people coming off of that one person, and then 3 people coming off of each of those 3 people, and it becomes like a surveillance tree. And what I've experienced in this and heard from other targeted individuals is the same thing often happens with the targeting. They're targeting me. I didn't do anything. I'm a good citizen who wants to help. Then my parents are just around me, or my friends are just around me. They're good people who didn't do anything, just like me. But since they're around me and they're already surveilling them, what happens is my parents aren't targeted by the same contractors who are targeting me. They'll, maybe surveil the whole thing, and then a contract will be put on, my parents, and they'll get their different surveillance teams and their different targeting teams, different torture teams. So I've experienced this. So I just wanted to say, let's, really support Dr. Horton. And, I've heard a lot of targeted individuals talk about this, and that's a real danger. And it's really dangerous because, and there's a lot of older people who realize they're being targeted, and they know their bodies well enough, and they just, they start researching it and stuff like that. But my parents, and I'm not sure about Dr. Horton's parents. I'm not sure, she's trying to let them know that they might be targeted. I haven't contacted her about that. But, my parents, it's like they would never accept that. They might accept that something's going on with me and not really know, exactly what it is, but they'd never accept that they're being targeted. They'd always think that it was just they're getting old, they're feeling this way or that way. But it's like my mom, she had to be rushed to the emergency room, and they think that she had a stroke, and now she's getting MRIs for it because the numbness on the left side of her body hasn't gone away. And now to somebody who's being targeted by this stuff and has experienced numbness and tingling and pain, it worries me a lot. It worries me a lot. And then after what happened to my dad, which, he would never admit it had anything to do with targeting, but it was after my 33rd birthday, and Dr. Horton talks about their weird dates. It's like they're weird dates, and it's almost like they're trying to let you know with numbers and stuff like that, or directed dreaming before it happens, which is just I don't even know how to react to this stuff anymore, guys. To be honest, I'm as a human being, I'm trying to find equilibrium because I know that the program's probably not going to end tomorrow, but it on the other hand, it seems very unhealthy to find equilibrium because it's almost like it's almost like the slaves back in the days before they were freed by the Emancipation Proclamation. They had to accept being slaves, and they had to find some kind of equilibrium with it, but it was total injustice, and eventually they had to be freed. And it's like we're in a similar situation, not exactly, but it feels like I'm just like, I don't know. It's very hard to explain. It feels like I do not like 5 years ago or 8 years ago when it really started, but really 5 years ago when I got my ass in gear. I was like, I'm gonna fight this every day, and these people are murdering me, and we're gonna get out there and do activism. And now it's like I'm seeing how big it is, how big this system is, and I'm kind of like, well, I need to spend time with my family, and I need to balance the activism with doing some normal things, because I'm not sure how long this is going to take, and I'm not sure how long I'm going to live through it. So I'm kind of going through those things in my head and in my heart. I'd never just completely stop doing activism or getting the word out, but I'm just thinking, how do we find equilibrium as target individuals? And there's a lot of good advice out there. There's a lot of good advice from a lot of target individuals on how to balance your life. I think we deal with having different things happen to us. We're all being hit with directed energy. Some of us have audible V2K, some of us don't. Some are, maybe being hit with a protocol that's just, out of this world, painful compared to maybe somebody who is, can go and do regular things. So we deal with that, of not having all across the board the same pain levels, the same types of things. So it's a little bit different to try and live your life for some target individuals other than other target individuals. But yeah, that really worries me. Hitting our friends and family has definitely happened to me, and not just my parents, but my friends. And I'm really, I'm not sure. Like, I had one friend who was really it seemed like he was being targeted very hard, and I was thinking, I haven't talked to him in a while, so I don't know how things are going, but he believed me about it, but then he ended up really backing away from it because, I don't know, it's that thing with human beings where, I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's hard to explain things right now. I'm not going to go into that one. I kind of wanted to give you guys an update and just, just make a video. It really felt good to talk to my psychiatrist. I kind of threw up all over, not physically, but I was just like, yeah, and it's just, I did that test and it came back normal, but and I guess that could be true because we're being hurt, our adrenaline system's being hurt, the nerves and the muscles are being hurt, but I guess that it could maybe not do damage to the actual structure of the brain. But turning that on its head, let's turn that on its head. And we all, as target individuals and a lot of non-target individuals, know this is really happening. I mean, directed energy weapons, there's training, research, and development going on at different levels, like MK Ultra with electromagnetic frequencies almost. So it's really happening. But let's say, let's just take the wild theory that I had schizophrenia. Like, take that wild ass theory that's not true, that a lot of people, propagandists, will jump to or whatever. Say that were true, and I mean, I feel heat on my hands and heat on my arms and getting hit in the head and, chatterbox V2K, so audible voices that my ears pick up from microwave hearing. Now, say all of that was it was an organic mental illness. That MRI that I took and the DTI that I took, why is that showing up normal? If somebody had that severe of a mental illness where they're actually feeling pain and they're actually experiencing, visuals, actually frequencies pumping in visuals to their head, all this stuff, all these frequencies interacting with the nervous system and mood, if it was that intense of an organic mental illness, like the the chemicals in my brain, that would show up on an MRI. I would not have